Hi there, welcome to Prime Time. I'm Paul Orford and I'm with Helen from
Hello.
TIO Markets. And Helen, guess what? I was just thinking, why do all marketing people suck?
When we say all marketing
Well, I'm being a
people,
generalist.
all except you.
Well, look, I pride myself on never having a day's work in marketing. I've always worked in sales. I've always been the person throwing stones at the glass house.
Yeah, but what you do is a bit marketing as well.
Influencer. No, well, what I really mean is that the way that this whole industry, and we kind of touched it on the previous video, is done in the same structure.
Yeah.
And, you know, there must be a different way, surely. There's got to be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you think, just thinking now on the marketing people in the industry, at least that I know and that I've worked with, it's quite a young demographic. So what that means is that often they are doing what they're instructed to do. And if those instructions are coming from seniors that potentially are not in marketing or who don't understand the value of marketing, then yeah, probably they'll be working on stuff that actually is not creative, not innovative. There's that side of it. And then there's the other side that we're in an industry that is really strictly regulated, and we've got compliance teams breathing down our necks. And so often, it's happened to me so many times that you produce something that you think is wonderful and creative and beautiful and exciting, and then the compliance team will come and say, "Oh, hang on, that's a bit too exciting.
Yeah.
You just tone that down a bit." So, yeah, lots of marketing people suck. Do they have the potential not to suck? Yes. It really depends, I suppose, but there are ways, for sure.
Because look, if you look at other parts of the finance industry, they're all quite creative as well. Whether, I don't know, going back, do you remember years ago in England, you had the lady with the red coat for the Scottish widows years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Seems like you remember that. Why don't people do something like that where it's something where you remember it rather than another footballer holding a logo, which they've got, look, footballers are stupid. They don't know how to trade. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
So there's a lot of controversy. I don't know if that's the right word in the industry. You remember every single FX firm had a football sponsorship.
Yeah.
And I worked on a couple myself, and it was so exciting and so cool at the time. And I think the first ones that did it were doing something interesting and different and trying to access new audiences. And then it became, oh, we don't really care about the audience, we care about how cool this makes us look and it improves our sense of trust and that side of the branding. So I don't see any relevance for that now, at least for TIO Markets in the stage that we're at. We're a young company, we're trying to build and we're trying to make our own reputation off our own back, rather than, we're not at the stage for sponsorships yet. I don't really want to bag on other companies that have those, but it's not for us at the moment.
So how hard is it to go from a startup? I mean, I would say you're a bit more than a startup now because you're quite well established, to getting your name, like, because obviously you didn't want to just go out there using the same old tired message. You wanted to do your own thing. How hard is that? Especially to convince owners who have just seen, maybe they got friends who own brokerages or whatever, said no, do it that way. Right. I want a copy and paste of that.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think it is easy if you have the support. You have to have the ideas, you have to work with some great minds, and you have to have someone above you who says, yes, we support that, it's compliant, it's great, go. You know, but it is tough if you've been raised, so to speak, in an industry that doesn't really encourage huge amounts of innovation. But we try to do it, and we've had some of our own great ideas. We've worked with Content Works as well, that really helped us with some really cool approaches. But I think for us, it wasn't about speaking, as you touched on in the last video, to the Bloomberg audience. You know, they already have information from Bloomberg. You don't need to try to be them. It's about talking to real people like me or you and saying, in language that we understand, if you're interested in trading, this is how you do it, this is what you can get from it, this is what you can lose. Let's have a real conversation without too much jargon, without too much promises of riches, without all of the bump around, just kind of frank and real discourse.
I think what a lot of people miss is that they miss putting a face up on the brokerage, because they spend all this money on this technology website, etc., but they don't put a face in. And years ago, when you was at INFX, you had the moustache, not moustache, bow tie man. But at least fair play, like at least he had his face and people recognised that he's linked to that brand, because nobody else would do it.
Yeah.
Right, look, okay, whatever they did, you know.
Yeah.
But it was the first kind of Forex influencer, maybe, you know, where people went, okay, I know Mr. Bowtie, he's INFX, and look, if I can see someone, psychologically you're going to trust them more. If I just see a contact us page.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I think I also sense a lot of hesitation for that amongst at least the brokerages I've worked in, because you have to you're protecting everyone, right? You're protecting your clients from the markets, you're protecting your employees from the clients, you're protecting your management from the employees. You really have to be careful. And I think when you have that face, then you expose that person. And not everyone, you know, bad stuff happens in all industries, and of course FX is no exception, and I think you're just potentially exposing that. So to have that mascot figure, that one face, is tough.
Or another patsy, should we call it, if it's a bad company?
Yeah.
I'm only kidding, by the way, it's not a patsy, I'm sure legally he's fine. So if I start my brokerage now, okay, what 3 things would you tell me to? Let's say there's a budget, which is kind of a good sized budget.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be in business for 5 years minimum. How would you brand me?
So you're starting an FX brokerage now.
Like, you know, generic, MT4, but.
Yeah.
Well, okay, don't give me a whole, because I've put you on the spot a bit, but like, what tips would you give a startup brokerage to really kind of forge their own way?
Okay, yeah. So I would suggest that you would focus really heavily on your website. And that's because this is the place that you're an online company at the end of the day. And your shop window is your website. So first of all, you need it to be attractive and compelling and all the things that are going to make the person actually convert. But as well from the perspective of actually finding people and using that website as a means of sourcing new traffic. You want to nail your SEO. It's so important. You want to have fresh content on that bad boy all the time. You want it to be multilingual potentially, although for a startup I know that's tough and it's expensive. But I can't emphasize enough the importance of the website actually at the moment, especially if you're new and your marketing budget is low. You can use all of those free tools, so videos, blog, you know, all this stuff that you don't need to pay too much for, that you can throw up onto your website, and then it increases in relevance, it increases in domain authority, and then you'll just find traffic coming without necessarily having to pay for all of it. So yeah, that's really, really important. Number 2.
Well, look, it's a bit harsh of me to ask for 3, if I'm honest. So, but what
I
I'm
can
saying,
give you a full strategy
I
have no problems.
Is it too late now, or do I just need a massive budget to make a success if I'm a startup brokerage now?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people I come to for my day job, they come to for they want a white label, but deep down in your heart, you know they're not going to make it past a year.
Yeah.
You know, how much do you think you need then to make this a success?
I think that's a really good question, because ultimately when you're fighting to pay wages and to cover the cost of bills, you are, no matter how important marketing is, you are going to be a little bit reluctant to take out that extra quid to put it on a marketing budget. So it's not important to have a big marketing budget. However, you need to spend those pennies wisely. And there are some tactics that have been used. I say tactics as if it's negative, but there are some approaches to traffic purchase, let's say, that may not be as effective as better options. I'm trying to choose my words here without putting anyone.
I don't want to stitch you up, and you know, it's unfair. But
no, not at all. You spend your money wisely, basically, and do whatever you can yourself in-house to get that traffic and those clicks, because those dollars will go further.
Yeah, because it's gone so far from, like, when I first started off years and years ago, it's just like, get a database, get an MT4.
Yeah.
Because like even a PSP wasn't really an issue back then, you know, because you could always find someone to do it. And now, wow, it's so tough to do it. It's like, I take my hat off to people for doing it, but they need to have a reality check before they go in there.
Yeah, for sure. But you're right, and you do still hear of a lot of people in the industry breaking off from forex brokerages and starting their own, and then just kind of dissipating after a while. I think the get rich quick mentality is there, and then once you actually realise how difficult it is and that you do need support and expertise and all of that side, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
So it's best to be an introducing broker, no doubt, at TIO Markets.
yeah. It's quite clearly one of the better brokerages around.
But I mean, really, a lot of people, whether it's ego, where they want that brokerage, they don't know the hassle of what it's like to run one. So it's best really to be an introducer. Do what you do, bring the money in, get paid, because you've got all the might of your marketing behind you.
Yeah, for sure.
Why hassle, man? Just
let the brokerage pay for all the stuff that you can't or don't want to. The marketing,
Because I say that to people when they start a white label, like, okay, dude, you need a dealing room, you need to have compliance, you need to have this, and they're like, oh, I didn't think it was like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's like, yeah, well, you're not going to be operational for X amount of weeks, therefore you've got to pay them sort of people that money and this and this and this. Yeah. But at least if they're doing like an introducer program, they're sticking to what they know. For
sure. And also their expertise might not be on the business side. They might be an educator or a professional trader, and they just won't want to go down that other rabbit hole. They just want to do their job that they're good at, and they might find people flocking towards them for their expertise. Just refer them over, get paid.
All right, cool. Well, look, we'll wrap it up there. I'll tell you what, do you want to give it a shameless plug by looking down the camera? What's your partner's address then? Not your boyfriend or husband, I mean like for TIO Markets.
Well, we said we'd have a business conversation, but...
Yeah, let's keep it straight, man.
So yes, I would love to do a shameless plug. Thank you for the opportunity. So we welcome partners with open arms, and you can visit www.tiomarkets.com/partners to find out more about our programs and the different rebates and payments that you can get. And our partners like us.
Cool, fair enough. That was shameless enough, I think. That was good. All right, cool. Well, you can contact her via LinkedIn. This will be on, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, you can see her name, etc. And also via TIO Markets. All right, thanks a lot, Helen.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Take it easy. See ya. Bye.